Ford. I'm the founder of Crafted, and I am so excited to be going live today with Krista Larson of Utter Brilliance Therapy. We're going to be talking about building client connections. So not only is that a great way to make your client feel comfortable and continue coming back to you, but it really helps to build up that reputation. We're really going to dive into some of the benefits that can bring to your business and also talk about how you can do this. So Krista is joining us. Here she is. Hello, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Good. It's so nice to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and you recently became a new mom.
Yes, new mom life. It's hitting me hard, but in all the best ways.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead, girl.
Oh no, I was gonna say my little one, he just turned 4 months today. So we're battling the sleep regression stage and trying to keep up with him. He's a hungry kid and but life is good. Life is good.
That is wonderful. Well, cheers to continuing to enjoy this new chapter and navigate it, because I'm sure, there's all kinds of little twists and
Oh
turns.
yeah. Yes. Oh yes, but it's all good.
Wonderful. Okay, so I am so excited for our topic today. I can't wait for any questions we have for everyone tuning in. Welcome, welcome. Just sending a couple little emoji waves your way. So before we dive into like the real nitty gritty of the chat, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and tell us about your background?
Definitely. So I am a pediatric speech language pathologist. I opened my private practice about 6 years ago. I work with kids as young as 18 months. My oldest on my caseload right now is 17. So I have a pretty wide range of clients that I work with. My specialty area is actually working with students who need assistive technology. So they use like iPads or different devices to help them communicate. So that's kind of the realm that I'm really diving into these days. And it's such a beautiful journey from when I started to where I'm at now. And I couldn't be happier doing what I do.
That's really beautiful. That's wonderful.
Thanks.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So, what are some tried and true ways that have helped you build relationships in your business, not just with your patients, with the children that you work with, but also their families?
Definitely. So, one of the reasons I started my private practice was because I wanted to build those connections. That was something that, I've worked in other really wonderful clinics in the past where just the style of the day was very different. I've had great experiences. It was very fast paced, but I found that I was, kind of rushing between clients and I would walk them out to the waiting room and I'd give mom a wave and she'd wave back. And then I would grab my next client and move them back to the treatment room. And that's just kind of how it was for me. And I felt like, yes, like were my sessions fun and effective? Sure. But that piece of, of getting to know the families and getting to know what the home life has been like, that to me was the piece that was missing. And so when I opened my practice, I said to myself, like, okay, how can I better reach my clients through their families? So it's taking the time to really get to know them, get to know what their days are like, and just honestly being fully transparent with them. Like, they're welcome into my therapy room anytime. They can come and watch a session. I send them videos. So that piece of transparency for me is one of like the best tried and true ways of just building that rapport with families and being honest with them. I know that families' lives are hectic. I mean, I know that now more than ever with a baby and just everything that life has to throw at me. And I wonder, how can I really help them practice outside of the therapy room? And it's just taking into account like life is hard. Life is hard for families. And just kind of getting on their level. I think, having those conversations has really, really helped build relationships. And I'm grateful that I'm able to account for that in my schedule, like build in time after sessions to talk to people. Whereas at my old jobs, I never could do that. So that's been huge for me.
I love that you said transparent. That is so, so important. And so when you say being transparent and how you use that that's one element of what you do to build these connections and build that trust. What do you mean by that when you say that, Krista?
Yeah, for sure. So, transparency to me is, having that open door policy. It's not a parent dropping their child off and 30 minutes later picking them back up and moving about their day. It's come on in, come see what we're doing, come see what I'm working on with your child. There's no secret to therapy. I don't want to be secretive. What I am doing with them, like I want that to be done at home. So come and see what we do. If things aren't working in my sessions, I'm honest about it. I'll say, hey, listen, we tried this today. And guess what? It didn't work as well as I thought it would have. Let's try something else. Or, a parent has a question and I may not know the answer. I don't know everything, obviously, like no one does. So being transparent enough to say, hey, listen, like that's not really in my realm, or I don't know too much about that. Let me get some research done. Let me talk to some other colleagues and I'll get back to you. I think that there's, as a speech pathologist, our scope is so broad that it's impossible to know everything about every aspect of our field. So, when a parent comes to me and says, hey, Krista, like my child is having some feeding concerns, can you address that? Well, I'm not really trained in feeding. That's not really something that I'm comfortable doing. So that transparency, that honesty, and I'll say, hey, listen, like I could take you on as a client, I could build my business and you could pay me and whatever, but would I be doing the right thing by you and your child? No. So that transparency of like, hey, I'm happy to refer you somewhere else, make sure that you guys get the help you need. I really do care more about the kids than the money, to be honest with you. Like that is, that transparency is what I'm referring to. And that really does help families build trust in what you do on a daily basis.
That is so fantastic. Like not just letting people know like, hey, here's what's really going on throughout the therapy session, but then also when you're asked something that just isn't in your wheelhouse or just isn't a fit, just saying like, hey, I don't know, let me look into it, or let me recommend someone who is a fit for you. That is phenomenal. That is just really good ethics as a business owner and as someone who works with kiddos and families. So truly amazing.
Yes.
So I have this question for you, Krista, and it really relates to anyone, no matter what industry you're in. We all need to have rapport and trust and connection with our clients if we're going to A, serve them well, and then B, continue to grow our business in the way that makes the most sense.
Yes.
So you mentioned earlier about really getting to know the families and like what their routine is like, so that when you do maybe assign maybe a bit of homework, you're doing it in a way that they can actually execute.
Yes.
So what tips do you have, in terms of really getting to know your clients on a human basis, that can really apply to any business?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and what I've learned, about life and social media and just being a business owner is that relatability is such an important piece of everything, right? So when people meet me, I have 2 dogs. I'm all excited to tell them about my dogs, their names, to me, like those little things, when people remember those things about me and about my life, it gives me butterflies. Like that's the way I strive to be with other people. So, I have kids that come in, I know all their siblings' names. I know where they go to school. I know where they, the sports teams that they're all on. Like, it doesn't end at the child. Like it is, because a child is not just a child, right? Every child has a village. Everybody has support figures in their lives. And when you can have conversations with kids and say, hey, like, did your brother have baseball this weekend? Did you guys go? You take an interest in that. And the families appreciate that. And it's just, you have those beautiful personal conversations outside of the therapy room. And to me, in any industry, I feel like that level of personal attention, it goes a long way, especially when it's genuine. I mean, you can tell when people are disingenuous about it, but when you are using that connection to better your business and better the experiences that your families and clients are having, like it just makes all the difference. Where was I the other day? I had like a doctor's appointment, right? And I hadn't met this doctor maybe once or twice before. It's like a new doctor to me. And she remembered, like, hey, how's James? I'm like, oh my gosh, you remembered my son's name? Like, and he's new to this whole picture. So to me, like that, I know she's listening to me. I know that she, cares about me. And that piece of everything is just, I think it's so important for business owners to know, like, get to know your clients, get to know how to better serve them, get to know what their day-to-day is like. And those relationships will just build themselves.
Love that so, so much. And so, okay, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a lot of details to remember, and we are human beings, right? It is not a
Yep.
perfect system up here with our memory. Do you
Nope.
take notes on clients? Do you,
Um,
so you can remember these things and ask about them and really, just kind of like have that bit of help to be
yeah.
able to show up in that way?
Yeah. I know a lot of people do that. I personally don't. And that's because the families that I work with are, I have my caseload and it's the same families that I see every single week. And sometimes I have these clients for a year, 3 years, 5 years. So these are people that I've come to know so well that those details, they're easy to remember because I'm frequently talking to them. If you're in an industry where, you have a family that you work with maybe twice a year or a client that you see once a month, it may be harder to recall all of that because your audience is so broad. Like for me, at any given time, I might have 20, 25 families on my caseload. And so for me, it's easier to kind of connect those dots because I see them so often. But, I do have other colleagues who keep a note section, like in their scheduler, where they keep, their progress notes and their reports, and they'll just jot down like pets' names or, sports teams that they're on or places that they like to go. And they use that, in therapy. And it's just, it helps the kids with their motivation and the families know that you're invested. And because like you said, even if you're genuine and you love what you do, we don't always have the mental capacity to remember tiny details. So yeah, I would say it's helpful for people to keep notes on that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, it's like you were saying before, when someone remembers your son's name or that you have dogs, it lights you up inside because, you're being thought of and
Yeah.
it's very genuine. So how powerful to be able to do that for others,
Yeah.
especially our clients, who we care so deeply about.
Yes.
That is phenomenal. And cheers to, if you have a great memory, fantastic. If you're not quite sure, like me, take some notes. No shame in
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So, can you talk a little bit about the impact that having this rapport and this trust with your clients has on your business? How has that impacted your business over the past 6 years?
Yeah, definitely. So, there's been a big shift in the therapy world where we are navigating from a place of, jump into the goals, jump into the data, let's get these numbers down and things in a very calculated way. And we're making this shift into like this beautiful space where, we come in and we're like, okay, what do you want to do today? We're asking the kids, like, what is interesting to you today? Like, I'm not going to come in with my own agenda of like, we have to play this game or we have to do this activity. No, because if a child doesn't have meaning and connection to something that they're doing, they're not going to learn. They're not going to want to learn, right? So I love that our field has taken this beautiful shift into this more like natural and free type of therapy. So the therapy that I do right now, it's very child-led. And that doesn't mean like the kid walks into the room and tells me what to do and we just do whatever they want to do. No, like I take note of what they're interested in. We could be playing, with a sensory bin, and I could notice that maybe they're really interested in the sea creatures that we have in the sensory bin. And you expound on that. Like you navigate into these areas where they are highly motivated and highly interested. And the language that comes from that is just, it's so much more incredible that 6 years ago, I would have just sat there and said, okay, we're doing what I want to do today. And no, you can't play with that sea creature because I have these farm animals that we want to play with. Like that connection, that is my goal. When I work with a client for the first time, yes, I do an evaluation and yes, I come up with goals for them. But my first few therapy sessions, I'm working on them. Like, can we build this connection? Are you going to want to come here and feel safe and feel appreciated and feel validated? So that is always my first goal. And that keeps them coming back. That is, They get excited to come here. The only time kids cry is when they have to leave, which also is kind of sad because you feel bad for them, but that is like the connection that I want. I want them to come in here knowing that they're going to have a good time, and know that they're learning. And I know that those skills are going to be transferred into other areas of their life because they're doing it in a meaningful way.
Wow. So, of course, no one wants to see a little child cry,
Yeah.
but what a testament to what you do and the connection you build, that they are so safe and happy and enjoying their therapy session with you that when it's time to go, they're so disappointed.
Pointed. Yeah, it happened. I had a little one yesterday. I felt like my heart breaks, because you never want to see a kid cry. But and I said to him, don't worry. I said, you're coming back tomorrow, and everything we played with today, it'll be here tomorrow. And guess what? I'll be here too, because at the end of the day, like, yes, they love these activities, but because I've built that relationship with them, they're coming to see me. They're happy to see me. And that's, to me, worth more than any activity, more than any goal, more than any data I could collect. That's everything.
Yes, absolutely. And we're talking about, connection in a few different ways. I mean, at the end of the day, it's people working with people doing business with people. And if you're with someone that you enjoy spending time with, that you feel really sees you and gets you, it's going to go so much better for everyone. I have heard stories from even wedding professionals where, like a planner or a photographer just gets on so well with the couple and they become lifelong friends, because,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if that doesn't happen, that doesn't mean that you have failed. But if that happens, like, that means that you're doing your job of really showing up for that couple, that client, and making sure that they truly feel like they're in good hands, that you've got their back, that Krista is going to be there for them. And that's amazing. Amazing. It's like a superpower, except it's not magic. It really is intention and consistency.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that, because I do have, the photographer that took our engagement pictures, she did a branding photo shoot for me. So like something totally different, right? But I knew that she got me. She's, an amazing person. Like, sure, we don't talk all the time. Like, I reach out to her whenever we need, pictures taken. But it's just knowing that I trust her. And here we were doing engagement pictures on the beach. And then, a year and a half later, she's here at my office taking branding photos for me. Like, it's wild to know that those connections can bridge so many gaps.
Absolutely. And speaking of, in your own experience of working with a photographer and then working with that photographer again for something totally different, I mean, that continued working relationship, also referrals, like building these connections. Not only is it great for our soul and for the person we're working with, but it does lead to growth. Do you have anything you'd like to share on that and how that has manifested in your business?
Yeah, definitely. And something recently popped up for me in that regard. So I see all of my clients one-on-one, and a few of them, the families are looking for play-based social groups. They want their kids to meet other kids. And, coming out of COVID, that was really hard for a lot of families. So because I know my kids so well, I said, oh my gosh, this child would work so well with this other child. And I was able to branch out into my business and do more of these play groups with clients that I already knew. And I was able to pair them up. And so I was able to offer an additional service because I was so intentional about pairing these students up that I've known for years. And so it's starting to grow for me. And another service that we will start offering is like these communication partner groups for parents, like support groups. That way they come in and they get trained on things that they can do at home. And that's because I built these relationships with these families, and word of mouth is getting around, and they'll refer other people to me. And so it's varied up my services quite a bit, and it has brought in new business for me, and it's just it's so impactful.
Love that. That's so great.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. So I'm taking a look at the questions we have here. So as a business owner, what advice do you have for others who are looking to improve their relationships with their clients?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question too, because Like you said before, there's so many different fields out there. You know, I know in Babe Crafted, we have women who work in a variety of different fields and settings. I would say that, you know, being able to reach out to your clients, get to know them, be transparent, set boundaries. I think boundaries are a big thing too, but that's a whole conversation for another day. I think, you know, it's just, you take that time to get to know people and you ask the fun questions, you ask the hard questions, you let them bring their concerns to you. And if you address them with intention, with care, you know, genuine care, I think that would keep people coming through your doors for a long time.
So helpful, so helpful. And last but not least, Krista, where can we learn more about you and how can we work with you?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm starting to get a little bit more familiar with social media these days. So you can always find me on Instagram at Utter Brilliance FL is our handle. You know, we can always reach out to me via email. I have a website. You know, those are the best ways to get in contact with me. I'm seeing Jill at the bottom. She's implementing a lot of boundaries lately. Hi, Jill. So yeah, I mean, I think, you know, if you guys need my contact information, I'm happy to provide that to you. And I'm always happy to have these conversations, you know, off of Instagram too. You know, phone calls, I'm always open to as well. Happy to help out any business owners too.
Wonderful. You're a rock star. Cheers to the business you've built, the amazing connections you have built with your clients, both the children and the families. Thank you for everything you shared today, Krista.
Of course. Thanks, Gina. I appreciate you having me.
Yes. Oh my God. Anytime. Same time next week, right?
Right. Next time we'll have some food. It'll be a whole thing. It'll be fun.
A whole party.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.